Hello all you wonderful people across the internet to what I like to describe the 76th edition of Weird Mind Newsroom, and sort of happy late Halloween as well to all of you who celebrate this spooky season, where this week we have a selection of some new releases, a small handful of some trailers, and quite a mix of news stories to look through. So, don't waste too much time, let's get into the content of all things media from this week.
You really shouldn't smoke, Miss Lane.
We start off the week of new releases with a film giving a bit of a creepy vibe, with a bit of religious undertones, and the turn of an iconic actor in his villain role era, as A24 has brought with them an all-new thriller in the form of Heretic. The film will follow two young missionaries who become ensnared in a deadly game of cat and mouse when they knock on the door of a diabolical Mr. Reed, and this played by Hugh Grant. Trapped in his home, they must soon turn to their faith in order to make it out alive, or question if it's all been true or an all of a lie. Reception to this new film has been very well received, with praise for performances, which particularly with Hugh Grant as a standout, and the concept of the film and its sense of tension and scares. And if you're up for something spooky around this Halloween season, even just post-Halloween, you can catch a new film out now in cinemas. The next movie for the week is in the realm of the documentary type, but that is a full motion picture, but the subject of said film has been an icon of the silver screen for many years in the past, with this iconic face being the staple of the project since the very beginning. This is the true tale story of Super/Man, the Christopher Reeve story. The film will tell the life and career of the acclaimed actor of Christopher Reeve, who back in the 70s became a global superstar when he became the symbol of hope as Superman, and the career that followed up to the horrible horse riding accident in 1995 that left him badly paralyzed. And even while he was searching for a cure for his injuries, that even through the injury and ailing health, he still showed hope and dedication up to his untimely passing in 2004. Reception to this documentary has been very highly praised for its discussion on the life and career of the famous actor, and for the respect to the discussion of the trials and situations he went through, while also showing a lot of heart and appreciation to the iconic face in film. If you want to check it out for yourself, then you can catch this film out now as well in cinemas. And as for games for this week, we are first heading to the world of high fantasy, adventure, magic, and dragons. As after about a decade of silence, it's time to return to the BioWare universe of Dragon Age with their new entry of the Veilguard. The game takes place around a decade after the events of Inquisition, as you play as a rook and join the members of said Inquisition will team up to stop the evil power of Solus, who is looking to perform a ritual to tear down the veil and allow demons and monstrous creatures to slip into our world. Reception to the game has been very well received in the critics side of things, with improvement of gameplay, story, and elements of decent material to lead you on your quest to glory, while the reception to the audience side is a lot more negative, with many calling it a DEI higher game and just complaining on elements of it, or seems to be the push with a certain users who say the same thing about many big companies or games, as per bloody usual. But I think it looks like it may be worth a try out, and you can play it for yourself, as it's now available on PS5, Xbox Series X and S, and PC. The second game for the week is taking the mix of some extraordinary powers, a blend of the murder mystery, and a fair amount of teen drama, all rolled together to bring you the latest entry in the long-running Life is Strange series with double exposure. In the game, you play as Max Caulfield, who will discover their friend Safi has been killed and found in the snow, and using her extraordinary powers, tears open a portal to an alternate parallel timeline, where Safi is still alive but is in grave danger. With her new power to shift between two timelines, it'll be up to Max to solve the original timeline murder and stop the other from happening before it's all too late. Again, reception to this title has also garnered some very well received reception, with praise of the story and moral choices, and feeling like a fresh take on the expanding series. However, like the previous game I mentioned, it has also been hit with a lot of critiques from fans, with complaints of bugs and glitches, story being a bit underwhelming, and even if you've seen some characters have been flanderized and don't feel like they should be. But if you're feeling like you want to play it for yourself, you can play it now on PS5, Xbox Series X and S, and PC, with a Switch version coming up by the end of this year. The last of the new releases is technically not a new release, but rather a recent game series with a unique concept given a fresh coat of paint in textures and visuals, as we have the unexpected remaster to the original game of Horizon Zero Dawn. The remaster will tell the story of the original game that will see you take on the role of Aloy, a young hunter in the post-apocalyptic future world overrun by mechanical beasts. She sets out on a journey across the main game and DLC expansion to learn about her lost past. Reception to this remaster has been very well received, that while praise has been given to the upgraded visuals and getting to play the original well-regarded title on modern hardware, it begs the question if this game really needed a remaster this soon, given the game is less than 10 years old, and there's many other PlayStation titles or classic series that could be due a proper remaster. But if you want to play it for yourself, it's available now on PS5 and PC. And with all of that, that's all the new releases that we have for this week.
You wanna buy some death sticks?
The first of the trailers for this week is providing another project from the director of the intense and sweaty and sexualized film about tennis that we got from earlier this year. A film that I have mentioned in the past is a little underwhelming to me, but is still decently good. With another new film that has a bit more of a forbidden love element to it, in an era of unrequited love. As Luca Guadagnino and A24 provide a trailer for their new upcoming project of Queer. Set in 1950s Mexico, the film follows Lee, played by Daniel Craig, an outcast American expat who soon becomes infatuated with a young man named Allerton, played by Drew Starkey, a US Navy serviceman recently discharged from Jacksonville, who will form a bond that will hopefully help to find themselves again in an unforbidden love. Now, I had heard elements about this project for the last few months as it was highly anticipated from the casting and discourse, and going off Luca's works is full of passion. I feel this one may seem a bit like its previous work, Call Me By Your Name, but feeling a less bit more creepy, especially after the ordeal of one of the main lead actors. But it has garnered some very well received reception so far, and may be worth to see if this sweeps a lot of award season appeal when the film releases in the cinemas from December 13th. Our second trailer for the week is showing that the case that you thought all the pain, terror, and bloodshed was over, but it seems that the games were only just getting started. As we return to the highly acclaimed Korean series with a trailer of the second season for Squid Game. The plot for this new season will follow on from the first one, and we'll see Ji-hun on a desperate mission to expose the deadly truth of the competition after the effects of the hardened demeanor and the scars of the past games that he endured. Yet his warning will go unheeded, but will soon tensions start rising as fellow players soon question his intentions may be true. Now, it's been a bit of time since I had actually watched the original season of the series, and it may be worth a rewatch in due time to get refreshed on the story, but from the likes of the season's marketing, they have been very elusive about it all, and it's only with this trailer that we've now seen some actual context and footage. What looks like it is setting up for a big season on the way. We do not have to wait too much longer, as the second season will be releasing onto Netflix from December 26th. And the last of our trailers for this week is delving into the realm of a galaxy far, far away for a new take on this expansive galaxy that has a vibe of some other tales of adventure in the world of Jedis and Force users, as we've received a new trailer for the upcoming series of Star Wars Skeleton Crew. The series will be set after the events of Return of the Jedi, around the same period as the Mandalorian Ashoka series, and follow a group of 4 younglings who, after discovery of a ship on their home planet, end up getting themselves lost in the galaxy. With the help of a mysterious Force user played by Jude Law, they will help them on a grand adventure to get back home. So like I said, there's a lot of the Star Wars can feel similar, but some of the shows all start to blend together. When they try with something different, it can work and appeal, like how Andor worked, which we're still waiting for season 2 on that, which most likely is next year, and some that had potential but everyone just didn't like that much, which was The Acolyte, which in fairness I actually did like at the expansion of the lore and feeling a bit like in a different time period, even though it had its issues. But this one feels a lot different. It has the element of like a Goonies or Stranger Things set in space, and I think it has a unique vibe to a Spielberg classic to it in some regards. I look forward to checking this out, and it's not too far away as well, so the series will be premiering in just about a month's time with a 2-episode launch on December 3rd. And with all that, that's all the trailers that we have for this week.
Jumanji.
On to start the stories for this week, we are delving into the realm of discussion of some release date announcements with a hefty amount of content based on the realm of the streaming service superheroes, and one other new announcement that has seen some of the stars don the capes, but more of an adventure that is more than just the game. We shall delve into these new releases now and see what was announced. So, we'll start on the realm of the film that is not the massive focus on superheroes, but rather with a film series that has seen a classic with an iconic actor back in the 90s before getting a reboot/sequel around 20 years later that was at first seen as a mess but turned out to be a lot better than expected, and that is with the films based on Jumanji. Now, the film reboot has seen 2 film releases within 2 years of each other, and with the likes of the second film's ending and post-credit scene, it was hinting at the elements that this broken form of the game was going to leak into the real world, and things may get a little bit crazy. But it was a case the film was in uncertainty due to other commitments of the actors and the pandemic, but now it seems like the game will come alive once again real soon. As was announced back on Monday or Tuesday this week, we have a release date for the third Jumanji reboot film, and that is now releasing on December 11th, 2026. Now, this makes a fair bit of sense, as the moment it will not be in any of the massive competition with big films like Avatar 3, which is out next year, or some other tentpole film. How will give enough time for the actors to be ready, as some are busy with other projects like films, comedy, and music. But in the case of Miss Karen Gillan, she's also actually pregnant right now with her first baby, so it will be enough time for her to have her child and have her maternity leave as well, and be prepped for the filming. It'll most likely be happening sometime next year. Now, I did enjoy the last two films a lot than I expected, and I hope they will have the same appeal and energy as those movies, and be a fairly entertaining adventure, but I guess we will see how it all turns out in due time. Alright, now let's look at the aspect that saw most of the release date announcements, and that is with the MCU, specifically the animation and TV streaming side of things, as earlier this week we received a rundown of all the projects that are coming to the Disney Plus service over the next 14 months in terms of projected release dates and release months with some projects. So starting with the only film announcement for the moment is with the second highest grossing film of this year, and that is with the Merc with a Mouth and his angry Canadian friends Grand Adventure, as the third Deadpool film is now hitting the service in 2 weeks time from November 12th, which I was thinking it was probably due time for this project, and I was thinking they're probably going to keep this up till the winter season for a bloody holiday or something, but now you can watch it over and over again when the film drops dead. It's not the only Marvel project left to come out from this year, as it's also confirmed that the supposed final season of Marvel's What If is also releasing at the end of this year on December 22nd. Similar to season 2 last year, and in most cases I feel it would probably be like a new episode every day of the multiverse stories over the Christmas period. And some of them are entertaining and would love to see expand to full series or even film versions of the comics, like the one about Nebula being a Nova Corp, like a Blade Runner sequel, or even the Avengers in the medieval time setting, as 2 examples. But we'll see how this comes along at the end of the year. Well, going into 2025, we have a confirmation of 3 live action series and 3 animated projects in the works, with all getting a release date and window that will be starting with the new animated Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man series, which will be dropping first on January 25th of next year, which has an interesting look and art style, a bit of a 3D rotoscope element and some comic book color and vibe to it. They may not be to the level of the Spider-Verse detailing, but close enough in some regards. And following that, I've already brought up recently that the next project in the next anticipated series is Daredevil Born Again, which will be getting a new series from March 4th, and hopefully will be a gritty and acclaimed as the original 3 seasons that were on Netflix. Next on the list is a series that has been seeing a lot of delays over the years, and that has to do with the official release date of Ironheart. It is now coming out on June 24th after a fair few delays, and has been ready to go since around 2022, 2023 at least. And from the footage on this series, it does look interesting, and I think the suit design looks pretty cool, and I'm intrigued to see how this will turn out in due time. But next of the 2 of the 3 animated series this year is the element of returning to Wakanda for the new series of Eyes of Wakanda, which will be dropping from August 6th, and will be showing the history of the hidden advanced nation and see the perspective of the Black Panther throughout history, and probably up to the present day. Now it does sound similar to the concept some fan made of the live action series that had like John Boyega as like the Black Panther, like the first Black Panther, but I guess we will see when the series comes along of how similar that will become. As for last, the animated series is one that spawned from the first season of What If, and as this series focuses on the world overrun by the undead. As confirmed, we'll be getting the Marvel Zombies animated series coming from October next year, which will fit the tone of the spooky season then, and will be interesting to see what other heroes will be the survivors and who will be overtaken by the virus. And as for the last of the releases for the MCU is with the confirmed live action series, and this comes in the form of a new hero known as Wonder Man, which will be dropping in December of next year. Now in the case of which this new hero is that I don't know too much about this character, but having a look at their superpowers list, I question what does he not have. But it seems like a strange and interesting concept from this small tease in this trailer, but I'm sure we will learn over time the concept of this miniseries and hopefully enjoy all the variations of heroes over the next few months. But what are your thoughts on all these release date announcements or everything? Are you looking forward to new Jumanji movie, and which of these MCU projects are you looking forward to the most? Let me know what you think down below in the comments. The next story for this week is a concept film that has seen a fair bit of discussion, and a question if the appeal and comedy of said project will still work well in this day and age, when the time period for the originals had that appeal work more. Now, if you're aware that for a good chunk of the 2000s up to the beginning of the 2010s, one of the most known genres was the spoof film that saw a concept of different films that were released at the time and being made from jokes and mockery, and that was seen the concepts like epic movie, date movie, disaster movie, superhero movie, Meet the Spartans, and the one that saw the biggest appeal and longest running, of course, was scary movie. Now, since 2000, the series has seen a share of 5 movies. The original has become a cult classic, and the first sequel is still well beloved by many, but saw a decrease in quality to a lot of people as it went on. The third one I think I still liked a fair bit. I don't think I've seen fully all of 4 or 5. And that was the case due to the change in filmmakers after the second film in the form of the Wayans brothers. You see, while they appeared in the original 2 movies, they also were the ones involved in the directing, some writing and producing of said movies, and provided a lot of laughs and set pieces that are remembered 20 years on, and it seems to be a case that they lost the rights to the concept or were fired for unknown reasons, as was brought by some recent interview. Many hope one day they can bring the charm back to the series that made them a household name, and it looks like those prayers were answered, as was announced earlier this week that they have obtained the rights back to the franchise, and the same announcement also also unveiled a 6th movie in the works are coming along as well. Now, while it's a very exciting thing to see the return of this series and the basis of the original creators also taking the reins, it does come with its concerns, mainly in the space about comedy and appeal of the spoof movie genre, as the likes of comedy films have found a difficulty of trying to find that right balance of appealing to many, as well as not having something that will be controversial or heavily debated. And on the basis of a spoof film, the last one I remember was the Wayans film of A Haunted House 2 from about 10 years ago, which was having some elements of appeal. It did get a lot of underwhelming reception, and there's not been much of a parody concept unless you kind of count the Medea movies. But I do hope that they can find a balance that will not cause so much issues or drama, and can come along with a follow-up that brings appeal back to the genre and the series' roots of like humor and good jokes, and I shall see how this film comes along in the near future. What are your thoughts on this whole thing? Are you excited for a new scary movie in particular? And which one is your favorite in the franchise of all the spoof movies? Let me know what your thoughts are down below. And on the last of news stories for this week is delving into the realm of talking about news and all things video games. And this is more on the basis of stuff beyond playing games, and that's relating to media formats of film, television, and other means. I'll be giving you a quick rundown of all the stories that were received in this era for this week. So we start off the news with a story that will relate to the seasonal period, and now we're in this week, and we're talking on horror. And we'll focus on a series that, alongside Amnesia and even to some extent of Slender Man, helped to revive the horror game genre that was struggling at the time, and that's with the series of Outlast. Since about in 2013, the studio Red Barrels has been scaring millions of players worldwide with 3 different entries. From investigative journalist and engineer looking to expose a secret military operation inside a giant mental hospital of strange and messed up patients, to a journalist couple traveling to the religious cult-like town in the middle of nowhere that may bring the end times, and a multiplayer game set in the Cold War era that be strapped into the mind control machine and forced to do challenges for the company. They've all had their appeal, and I would say the original is one of my all-time favorite horrors, and just so happens to be also starting the series on my YouTube right now, which I'll play through the 4 parts now in due time. Now, while the next official number title is still being worked on, as well as more console updates to Outlast Trials, it looks like the horrors are heading into the real world. It was announced this week that we're getting a film adaptation of this series, courtesy of the studio of Lionsgate. Not much in this likes the film's plot or focus of the film is known as of right now, but it's confirmed to have the original game's writer involved with the project and one of the biggest producers in the horror films of Roy Lee, who's done films like It, Barbarian, and Late Night with the Devil. So it sounds like the film may be in some safe hands for the moment. But this does come into effect to the studio that is making it in the form of Lionsgate, as their last 7 movies have bombed both critically and financially, and their last film based on a video game of Borderlands has been labeled as one of the worst game adaptations and worst films of this year, which personally I don't think is as bad as they're making out. As someone who's never played the Borderlands games, I've enjoyed it a fair bit, but it's not great, but you know, it's not terrible either. And they're already making some big claims right now that they're saying that their biopic on Michael Jackson will make more than $2 billion, even though no biopics have crossed the $1 billion mark. But if they allow the creatives to make it work, keep it to the spirit and tone of the games, and, you know, find that balance, then I feel we're in for something really scary. I look forward to seeing how this all comes together down the line. Then going from one indie horror title to another, we have some news relating to the update on a film project that has not gotten any updates since last Christmas, and that is with the film adaptation of the Bendy series. So a lot of this has been quiet for a good chunk of time, and many wonder if we will hear anything about this project at some point in between discussion of new games and merchandise. But looks like we have one new piece for the project, and that is with who will be directing the film, and that was answered this week in they'll now be directed by Andre Ovredal, who has done some work in the realm of horror and fantasy with films such as Troll Hunters, The Autopsy of Jane Doe, Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, and most recently, The Voyage of the Demeter. And from the likes of the track record, appeal, and reception, it seems to be very well regarded, so I feel it'll be probably worth a decent choice and might work out well enough. Now, it probably just comes down to the likes of a decent story coming from it with writers, good choice of the creators of the game involved, and get a pretty decent cast and look and appeal of the games. And I'm sure we can be a smash success, similar to the likes of FNAF's Outcome, that while it didn't get great reception, it got a box office haul of massive appeal and a sequel on the way. But I guess we'll learn more as development for this film continues on. The third gaming story is taking us to the streaming giant of Amazon Prime, and we're talking not on the series of God of War this week, but rather on another series that's deep in development and has a new take on the character of Tomb Raider. What we know so far is that the series in the works and is being developed and worked on with Fleabag star Phoebe Waller-Bridge writing and executive producing the series, and most things have been quiet since that announcement all the way back in May, with one of the big questions for said series was who will be popping on the tank top and shorts and have those hands on the 2 silver 9mm as the main lead. And it seems to be a bit of a news that we have down to the 2 final choices. Now, according to sources, it seems to be the final choices that are between right now is Game of Thrones star Sophie Turner and Bohemian Rhapsody and pale blue eye star Lucy Boynton. So the choices of both actors are a decent appeal as they fit the tone of the character of a decent build. Both of them are British, and I'm sure they can fit the tone and be a decent name to their filmography. Now, it's hard to say who I would go for as while I've not seen much of Boynton in a lot of projects, she seems to be in a lot of serious film roles and projects that may work to some degree. And as for Turner, I have seen her in a bit more of a performance from Game of Thrones and the recent X-Men films as Jean Grey, and some clips of her new miniseries of Joan, but I feel her range feels a little flat or over the top at times, but that may be just to do some elements of direction or writing for the project. But I feel with any choice for the role to work out, I'm sure we'll learn more of the outcome of this decisions very soon, but I'm sure with whatever choice they make, I will see how it all comes together when the series makes it for the streamer. But speaking of streamers for this final story, it all concerns the gaming company of Nintendo, as they've been doing some jokey stuff as of late, I will say. Now, if you've been following this channel for a little bit for the last few months, did you know I brought up some stories that the company is in the process of making the successor to their smash hit Switch console and looking to release this product sometime next year? And it's a case that many are wondering, when will we see this unveiling, because it's been quiet for a bit and it seems Nintendo has heard, but not the way you think, as for the last 2 or 3 weeks they have been announcing and unveiling some weird products like the first Nintendo Alarmo, or the most recent one from this week was a streaming app for their massive music library, as the likes of trying to listen to their music on YouTube or other music streaming services seems very difficult this time. I find this announcement is a very weird outcome of the fact that Nintendo is just trolling us at this point. I mean, I would not be surprised if they just released a Nintendo Toaster or Nintendo Blender at this point, or some other appliance, and delay the unveiling of the new console much longer and longer, but I'm sure we will see this console either before Christmas or by the end of the fiscal year. But I have faith in Nintendo that they will show at the right time and get so many people, like myself, excited for the new console on the way. But with all of that, what are your thoughts on these gaming news stories? Are you excited for an Outlast movie? Do you think a good director for Bendy has been made? Who would you pick as the role of Lara Croft, and when do you see Nintendo unveil their new console? Let me know down below and we'll discuss it there, and with all that, that's all the news that we have for this week. And now with all of that, that ends episode 76 of Weird Mind Newsroom, and I hope you enjoyed listening to my ramblings for a fair bit of time. So let's get into some updates for this week. Alright, so we'll start with reviews. I've kind of, in an aspect of my mind, I want at least have for the end of this month to get a few done. So I want to get the Horror Most Bore one out of the way, as I mentioned I was delaying on that regards. That will probably consist of 3 terrible horror movies from this year. One is a follow from last year, one is based in the home country, and one is probably going to be the worst reviewed one altogether. Other ones I'm going to have in mind, I want to do Deadpool and Wolverine one probably in the next couple of weeks. I'll try and do Dune maybe by the end of the year as well. I'll figure that out. But I want to do a double feature of the 2 robot movies of Transformers 1 and The Wild Robot as like a double feature, similar to what I did with Barbenheimer. But we'll get to them as well down the line. More long form and short forms will come as well, and we'll see how that comes along. Gameplay wise, as you've seen the case instance there for like just slightly delayed after Halloween, I dropped the first part of the Outlast gameplay series. Now I've completed the full game in quick succession. I think it's like 4 parts just for the main game. I will probably do DLC as well, which most likely will be about a part or 2. They're not that long, and I've played them a fair bit amount of time, so I know what I'm doing, but we'll see along with those ones. I'll probably upload those over the next few days as well. As was the case, I have a fair few Last of Us parts to still go. I'm up to, I think, just the end of this, the university chapter in some regard, in some sense, and then I'm going to go to Left Behind, and then I'm going to get some more Mario Wonder stuff, as well as a case of some Cyberpunk gameplay started, as well as figure out some consoles and stuff like that. So you'll probably see them down the line, but look forward to them on my channel, and just like and subscribe so you know when they're coming along. Now, as for the long form stuff, as I mentioned, the case instance Horror Most Bore is coming along. I am projected at least that I'm going to like buckle down when I have the time and focus to do it. Do the rewatch-a-thon of the last few films for part 1 of this Disney live action one, as was a case of get the AI video done, as we get the insight from someone else that like the focus of the audience choice video is on, to get their insights on some of the films or projects that I'll be talking about in this section. But I will get to them over time and hopefully have them out by the end of this year. That's my whole goal with that regards. I'm sort of like focused in the case instance, and then it's like someone now like learning first stuff or like, you know, driving and shit. So it's gonna be a busy point, so just bear with me. Hopefully it's the case. But anyways, I think I'll leave it there for now because I've probably rambled on for long enough. So if you enjoyed my content and want to see more from me and more frequently, then simply like and subscribe, as I upload new videos every single week. Multitude of variations of different topics and discussions. Long form stuff, I have long form stuff. When I have short form stuff, I have short form stuff, and I will get working on it over time and upload of stuff when it comes along. I'm not making sense right now, I'm just rambling. Also, hopefully reach the goal of 100 subs by the end of this year. We are 8 away from 100 subs, so let's get that cracking. If you can reach that goal, I will appreciate it it very much, and I will promise to make more great content and improve my content as this content goes on. Also, let me know your thoughts on everything that was discussed this week down below in the comments, of everything from like the new releases, the trailers, the news stories, of everything you might have seen this week, or what your thoughts on them are in particular. But anyways, I'm leaving it there for now. So as always, you all stay being wonderful people and have a great day every day, doing many great things, and to keep being you because no one else can do what you do. But as always, thank you all for watching, and I shall see you all in the next video. So take care, and I'll see you later.